back now. I'm sorry about the interruption. It was I don't know what was going on, but we finally got it worked out. I think we're gonna try it again. It's telling me that I'm live right now, so I'd like to say thank you all for staying with me. Let's kick it back up and get back where we were. Uh, the police have got to start treating people, like they live in this community, like their family. And if they start doing that and stop driving up and down Houston Street like maniacs and get out of the car and walk down the street sometime, maybe it'll become a positive thing. I mean, something's going to happen. They got to deploy these teams to the street with social workers, with forced diversity, and treating people like family. In San Antonio, there was a shooting on the 200 block of Noblewood at the Albany Home Apartments. There was another shooting at the Antioch Village, Upland Drive. Mr. Divine Weaver, I hope I pronounced that right. If I didn't, I'm sorry. He had a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old child that he left behind. Um, in the last 12 months, there was 7,200 deaths by guns not in San Antonio, in the United States. 1,000 of those 7,200 deaths was done by the police. So in 12 months' time, the police killed 1,000 people. 1,000 people in the United States of America. Out of that 7,200 people, another 471 teenagers died from a handgun. And worst of all, 120 of those kids, or 120 of that 7,200, were under 12 years old. That's pretty sad that the United States got such a gun crisis here. And it really ain't the gun crisis, it's the people crisis. The people are the ones with the guns. The guns don't kill, people do. People got so many little trivial reasons to want to F somebody up. They need to slow it down a little bit because too many people are getting hurt. Too many people are going to the morgue. Think about it. What happens when there's a shooting? First of all, somebody dies. Second of all, somebody gets arrested. So the shooter and the person who no longer is with us, families, are now pulled into this long, drawn out ceremony of events that's going to cause strife in these families for life. First of all, you got to make arrangements to go to the coroner, identify the body. Then you make arrangements for the funeral home to pick up the body. Then you got to pay the funeral home because they don't do shit for free. They want to pay you. They charge you for the limos. They charge you for the flowers. They charge you for the facility. So by the time you get out of there, they working on your remorse right now too. They gonna hit you up for about 10 to 15 grand if they can. Don't let them get you like that, because you want to send out your relative the best way you possibly can, and nobody can blame you for that. But you can blame these funeral homes for charging the hell out you. I know it don't take $10,000 to intern someone. How do we get them to stop robbing our people? We find people that know better and do better. That's what we're gonna have to do. And then you got the other side of this situation. This boy's being picked up. I'm just saying it's a boy. It may be a girl. Could be somebody. Who knows? They get picked up by the police. Now they're in jail. They calling you saying, can you get some bail money? And then the judge got a choice on what he's going to set the bail at. If he says, what, $10,000, that means you got to pay what, 10% of that? What's 10% of $10,000? $1,000? You got to come up with $1,000 to go pay bail, and sometimes you go to the bail bondsman. When you go to that bail bondsman, you got to bring some collateral. What you gonna do? Put your car up that you done paid for, you done worked so hard to pay for. You gonna put your house up that you've been slaving to pay for, and then you get him out of jail. Now as his court date come up, don't let that dude miss that court date, because if he does, guess what? You put the collateral up, you are subject to lose it. It becomes the bail bonds property, or the bail bonds, whatever you use as collateral. So you have to be careful. So now you got two sides struggling to get things done just because somebody stepped on somebody's shoe. Just because somebody stepped on somebody's shoe. Ain't that sad? Man dead. Man dead. Man dead. Over something so trivial. We got to stop doing this to people, to our people more especially, because we've done it for too long. They got us right where they want us at, and they've conditioned our minds to be like slaves. Slaves to what they expect us to be. We don't have to be what they expect us to be. They expect us to be violent, uncontrollable anger at each other more than anybody else. Get control. We gotta stop fighting ourselves. We are kings and queens. Treat us that way. We don't want to be dead. You know, we all go to church and talk about going to heaven, but ain't nobody willing to die to get there. Well, you got some crazy cults out in California doing that kind of stuff, but most of the time you don't see people running around talking about, I'm dying today so I can go to heaven. In Ohio, they're bribing black people to take the COVID vaccine with Vax-A-Million Lotto. Ain't that something? They're using Vax-A-Million Lotto, but, you know, people are winning. I'm sorry to say it, but they winning, but they getting that damn vaccine. Why is it that they got to con people into getting the vaccine? Several states are going through this. They're initiating lottos just to take, if you take the vaccine, you might get your college paid for. You take the vaccine, you might win $1 million. There's money out there for taking that vaccine. Why is it so important that they want you to take that vaccine? I got a friend that lives, he's from Ohio, named Darren. You know, I just mentioned him because I'm talking about him in Keith Tony's state. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. The George Floyd Act that they tried to BS us up at the state capitol, yeah, we're going to pass the George Floyd Act, you know. It's been all through the chambers, and it's installed some damn way up there because they ain't going to do shit with it. The George Floyd Act barred no-knock warrants and chokeholds. Why people got to have chokeholds and no-knock warrants in the police force? Don't make much sense to me. In order for this to become one America, there's three things that they're gonna have to start doing. And when I say they, I mean the people in charge, because if you can name 5 corporations in America, you can tell me that's 5 white CEOs running it. We might well say 10, might as well say 20. Very few 1 in 1,000 blacks run something, and they only run it when it gets effed up. And they run it, they bring in the black man like they brought in Barack Obama when the country was messed up, the economy was messed up. They put him in charge to fix it, and he did. Why, oh why? There's got to be one America, y'all. They passed a bill called House Bill 3979. Look it up. Look it up. House Bill 3979. And the bill basically says you cannot make people feel sad for their ancestors. In other words, if a teacher stands up in front of her class and says, from this year, from 1865 to 1901, there was slavery in the United States, and the Rockefellers owned 319 slaves. So we're definitely saying that they were wrong for that. The teacher can get fired. They will fire that teacher based on this House Bill 3979. You cannot make the kids feel bad for being descendants or recipients or inheritance from people who own slaves. You can't make them feel bad, y'all. So you better be nice to the descendants of the slave owners. That's what House Bill 3979 is telling you. What kind of shit is that? This is what our country and our state is doing right now. Look at what they're doing in Georgia and Arizona. Messing with the vote. Trying to make it difficult for you to vote, make it difficult for you to qualify. They're taking the polling stations out of your communities. Look what Donald Trump was doing. He was taking, was it mailboxes they were picking up? They were going around the damn city picking up mailboxes. What kind of EO is that? Ain't that something? In this city, in this country, sometimes, I don't know, it behooves me to see this kind of stuff. In order for us to become one America, though, 3 things are going to have to happen. Right now, they're killing us in our schools. They are killing us in our schools. How? 1, House Bill 3979, you cannot teach the history of slavery. You cannot teach the black plight in America. They don't want you to teach black kids what their ancestors had to go through for them to be sitting in that classroom. They don't want you to teach them that. So if you don't know your history, you're doomed to become a slave of somebody else's history. This is not our history. This is not our religion. This is not our language. This is what they gave us, made us take. Now, if you think about it, we're the youngest species of people on the planet. You look at the Chinese, they can go to China. The Japanese, they can go to Japan. The Koreans, they can go to Korea. The Germans, they can go to Germany. The Scottish, they can go to Scotland. The Irish, they can go to Ireland. The black man, where can you go? Something's wrong with that picture. All I'm asking for is for them to stop killing us in our schools. That's 1. 2, they're killing us in the courtroom. And for all of y'all who think Bill Clinton is a black president, you's a damn lie. He did black people bad, worse than anybody else that's been in that White House. He came up with the 3 strikes you out. He put more black people in prison than any other president. When Bill Clinton went into the office, there was 300,000 prisoners. By the time Bill Clinton came out of office, there was 1.2 million prisoners in prison. 90% of those that went were black. That ain't no rite of passage. They busting people for a gram of marijuana, for jaywalking. You getting caught up in the system. They picking you up, booking you. The police start the bull crap by picking you up for something that nobody in their right mind would think is a crime, and just building and making up stuff to get you in the system. Now you're in the system, you got to pay. You got to go to court, and they don't want to release you unless you pay something. It's almost like the mafia. Well, we want to dismiss your case, but you're going to have to pay $90 just for us to do that. Ain't that some bullshit? They can put a warrant on your ass, and you won't even know it. You driving around the road, do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do, and here comes the po-po and pull you over for something you may have rolled through a stop sign, something simple, and you end up getting arrested, getting your car towed. Now you got to sit in jail for the next week or the next 2 or 3 days until somebody come get you out. They're killing us in our courtrooms. We got too many legal actions going against black people. There's too many reasons for us to be in court. We don't have that kind of time. You got to take time off your work. You're losing money at your job. You might have been on your lunch break, and then you got arrested, and now you can't go back to work, so they think you abandoned your job, so they fire your ass. Now you ain't got no job. There's a lot going on here. And it seems like this system, everybody know about it but us. Everybody know about this corrupted system but us. Why is that? Because people don't step out like I'm stepping out right now, unapologetically black, telling you what I know about this corrupted system in San Antonio, in America. It's corrupt. They're killing us in our schools. They're killing us in the courtroom. And last, my 3 tops, they're killing us in corporate America. Like I said a few minutes ago, name 10 companies that you spend your money with that's got a black person running it. I'm talking about $1 million companies. Walmart, shit. Walmart come to town, the little guy going down. If you own a little business, you going down. Walmart's gonna take you out. There's a rule called Rule 82. You're so happy to get a contract with Walmart. Walmart's just like buying a boat. You're very happy when you buy it. You get that contract with Walmart, they'll rape you across the coals and then destroy you and then start making your product in China and kick you to the curb. Or have you making that product for little or nothing, and so your profit and your employees now are unemployed because Walmart done took you out under Rule 82. That's the way they do it. And you got to be smart. You got to talk to people and understand how this system works. And it does not work in your favor. You, as the youngest species of people on the planet today, you got a long way to go. We got a long way to go and a lot to learn. I mean, why does one man who feelings got hurt? Why can one man own 600 acres of land, 1,000 acres of land? Who gave him that? When America was handing out all this land, where were the black people? Black people couldn't get none. Only thing they want to get black people is Section 8 and damn food stamps. That's it. You can get all the food stamps in Section 8 you want. And that way they can control your ass. That's what they want to do. That's why they give it to you. But name those corporations right now, not right now, but when you get ready to, in your mind, where black people run it. And then sometime when they get up to the top, I ain't gonna say nothing about the Saws, the black lady that runs Saws, and I ain't gonna say nothing about Norma Clayton, who used to run the Boeing Aerospace Support Center over there with her two-faced ass. Sorry about that, Norma. Anyways, the corporate thing is a mess. They're killing us in the corporation, they're killing us in the courtroom, and they're killing us in our schools. We have a D2 election with Jada and Jalen, the JJ. And JJ is on the run. We had Ivory Taylor, Mr. Keith Toney, Mr. Alan Warwick, Mr. Cruz, Mr. Art Hall, and then Miss Jada Sullivan. That's how many people we've had in the last 8 years. 2, 4, 6. Did I miss anybody? 6 people in the D2 seat in the last 8 years. That's a lot of damn money that could have went to these constituents out here in D2 that went to somebody's damn pocket after they left that seat. We got another thing coming. I believe in consistency. We need to deploy consistency in this city. And that's why I think Jada Sullivan should remain in the D2 seat. Now think about it. Her 2 years encompassed COVID-19. How the hell you expect her to do miracle work in our community during COVID-19? Everybody was locked down. Nobody knew exactly how to operate under these conditions. Somebody likes to call me when I'm in the middle of my broadcast, but I'm going to just hit the red button. Anyways, Jalen, I like Jalen. I wish him all the best. And if he wins, I'll congratulate him for winning. But as I said before, we need consistency. Consistency in the D2 seat. I ain't going to say nothing about what these preachers done did. They always up to some kind of stuff. I ain't going to say what, but I don't know what happened. But whatever it was, they need to sit down somewhere. Quit doing all that kind of stuff, if they did it at all. My last topic for today is the domestic military force, the DMF. When I went to Bosnia, I was deployed in Bosnia. I had my M16, I had my 9mm strapped to my chest, I had my armor plating, I had my bayonet, I had my 6 magazines full with rounds. I had all the gear that I needed, and I had a helicopter. I wasn't driving it, though, but I was in the back. Now, that's the way they dress a soldier when they go into war, when they occupy another country. You're prepared for battle. You walk the streets, you see people sitting on the street, some innocent, some look like criminals, some may be harboring weapons or harboring fugitives. You see all this when you're walking the street, but you're not going to arrest everybody, but you're going to point somebody out that look like a suspect. And you're going to pick them up and you're going to shake them down and you're going to put them in the back of your Humvee and take them in for interrogation because you have that power to do it. Now I'm talking about the domestic military force. Over the last 15, 20 years, most of our police forces have been able to request tanks, light what is a law? Light anti-tank weapon, a law. I ain't used that word in so long. Grenades, Humvees, armored vehicles, all the stuff that the military has access to been given to these cities so they can beef up their police force. When the black people were riding during the George Floyd protesting, you see the police departments deploying all these big ass pieces of equipment that they don't even know how to operate. All they know how to do is drive the damn thing and sit on top of it. Ain't that a damn shame? That's taxpayer money going to all these little ass police forces so they can control the people in the town. And I'm saying this is a domestic military force because this is exactly what the police does here in our country. They patrol, just like we did in Bosnia. They patrol the neighborhoods and the communities, and if they see a suspect, they're going to lock them up. It's called counterinsurgency, especially when it deals with black people. So I believe that there's a secret room where they have a secret meeting where they discuss just how to keep a black man down. Because they damn sure are good at it. They are damn good at it. The domestic military force is the police. They use counterinsurgency to crush the will of black people. I'm going to say it again. They use counterinsurgency to crush the will of black people in America. That's what we did in Bosnia. We used counterinsurgency. I'm telling you, that's how it works. Using every method possible to stop, control, and neutralize a black man. That's why in America you see how black women, let's go back to slave days. The black women were the ones in the house always doing things for the white man and the white family. I mean, so they would go so far as to the nanny would breastfeed the little white babies. Ain't that something? Before they breastfeed their own kids. They take everything. Ain't that sad? And have no remorse. And they think that's because there's a passage in the Bible that say, honor thy master. Who do you think wrote that shit? Who? Was it King James Version? It was King James, right? I'm talking to you. Answer what? Was it King James? I don't want to get into the Bible because there's a lot going on there. A whole lot. They use every method possible to stop, control, and neutralize your ass. That's powerful. They stop you economically by not giving you them damn jobs that you deserve and you're qualified for. You should be running the damn department. They stop you psychologically by trying to sweat you over nonsense. They want to stop you ideologically. They don't want to hear nothing you got to say, and if you invent something, they take it and make it theirs. It's an occupying force here in America. All these police getting all this equipment, all this military equipment, he's walking around with a baton, a damn taser, a pistol, handcuffs, and whoever who knows what else they got on their belt. You know, they are exactly like we were in another country, in America. Yes, they are. And if you think about it, you'll see it. We've been pushed out of the American dream, y'all. How can the Indians come over here into America? And every 7-Eleven you go in, they running it. Every gas station you go in, they're behind the counter. It's unbelievable. How can all these other races come to this country and be as flourishing as they are? And they just as quiet as a damn mouse because they getting what they supposed to get. Do you know descendants of the Holocaust still get reparations from Germany? Yeah, they do. We've not gotten a damn thing for the shit that they put us through in this country. But arrested and denied knowing our history. If we knew our history, we'd be more powerful than we are now. That's why I'm preaching to learn our history. Learn it. Make your kids recite something from Martin Luther King or Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, Medgar Evers, somebody. Know at least one or two of those people. Walk up to a kid today and say, name one civil rights leader. What they gonna say? Oh, Donald Trump. Ain't that some shit? That's sad. But that's the way it is. They have denied us the ability to train our children. They don't like us. They don't want us here. And if they could send us back, they would. They tried it with Marcus Garvey. But what they did, they sold him a raggedy-ass boat. The boat couldn't get out the harbor. He was going back, but they gave him a boat that was going to sink. Ain't that sad? A raggedy boat. They beat him out his money and took him, gave him a raggedy boat. Tulsa Black Wall Street anniversary is today and tomorrow. Now, they still owe those people reparations. If you go to Black Wall Street, you'll see a plaque listing all the families that lived in Black Wall Street. And you'll see what they project the city of Tulsa owed them. You know, they couldn't stand seeing those black people self-sufficient. That's all. If we can have a black town, I'm still looking for a black town to move to, where we got everything we need. No Walmart. A lot of people have been conditioned in America to be a certain way. Don't allow yourself to be conditioned to be a slave. Not because you grew up that way. You may have learned some things from your parents. You know, they may have had to endure some things while you were growing up that you inherited. That didn't make it right. Know right from wrong. Know if you're being subservient to the master. It don't work this day and time. That's why I've had trouble everywhere I went. I'm probably the only person that can tell you right now, I had 5 Article 15s while serving 21 years in the military and still retired as an E8. That's a hell of a damn road to hoe. Work for Boeing. My director, who's a graduate from Brigham Young University, Venezuelan, had the audacity to poke me in my chest. And all I did was I felt threatened. Got him relieved for a couple of weeks. Next thing I know, though, I got laid off. They know how to get you. I was the best qualified for several jobs. They told me you were the best qualified but not selected. Done with Boeing. But they paid me well. Went to the Department of Veterans Affairs. Just because they are the Department of Veterans Affairs, don't think they like veterans, because they don't give a shit about veterans. Everything they do is a monkey show. They do it because that's what they're mandated to do, but they don't give a shit about veterans. If that was the case, why you always got to fight to get everything you deserve when you're back home in America? When the black people came back after World War II, they were still slaves. Some of them were hung. They still had to be subservient. That's pretty sad, but that's the truth. When we don't have freedom, we don't have anything. Don't believe the hype when they tell you if you go white, you get it done right. That's bullshit. All right. That is the war report for today. I'm thanking you for giving me the opportunity to rebroadcast the show. Join me next Saturday at 1 o'clock for a whole new list of topics. We'll go back over a couple of things if you want to. You can reach me at Casa de Smitty's at 1850 East Houston Street most of the time. Thank you so much and have a nice evening.